The only thing you need to know right now, the point is not to avoid the pain, and you need to stop asking yourself, what's the least you can do to get good? And you need to start asking yourself, what's the most you can bear to become great?
To me, the very fundamental purpose of life is to find out how many skills I can acquire that have utility, and then put that utility to the test in service of something greater than myself.
The narrative about what it means to be an entrepreneur is to be naturally gifted. And I call total bull on that. Because I'm not naturally gifted. I don't have any natural talents. And we all learn to do things, and it's that ability to specialize that makes us great. And the things that you choose to put your time and energy into, those are going to be the things that allow you to accomplish something. But all of that is a choice. And we all have a superpower, and my superpower may be the willingness and ability to endure suffering. And I'm not necessarily saying that's always a good thing.
How many skills can I acquire that have utility, put that utility to the test in service of something greater than myself? That is for me the purpose of life. So how then, as it's going through my fingers, am I not able to find fulfillment? And the reason is that fulfillment exists outside of all of that. Fulfillment has to do with the last part of what I believe the purpose of life is, and that is to exist doing something in service of something greater than yourself. And if you're not able to tap into that, then you're never going to get that fulfillment that you want in your life. This is the central tenet by which I believe everyone should live. You can create yourself. In fact, no one else is going to create you.
The questions you ask yourself will determine the course of your life. I had been asking myself, what do I need to do to get rich? And it left me really unhappy. So I changed the question. And I started asking, what would I do and love every day, even if I were failing? Life is chaos. It takes an inhuman amount of effort to bring order to that, to find success in the middle of that. So while I cannot promise you success, I can promise you failure. I cannot promise you happiness, but I can promise sadness. So if you know those are the guarantees and the other things are the things that you have to strive for, you better be striving in service of something that in and of itself is interesting to you.
And to me, the question that we all have to ask is, who do I want to be? What do I want to become? And how high of a price am I willing to pay to get there? The people that you most admire, the people that have achieved at a level that you want to achieve, they are no different than you. They simply know what they want to become, and they're paying the price to get there. That's it. Right now, between me and the person I want to be, between you and the person you want to be, there is a gap of skill set, and that's it. But once you know your mission, and once you believe that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to, then you can do the extraordinary.
Things are going to happen to you if they haven't already, and I'm sure they have. Many tragedies have befallen every person in this room. And what I want you guys to recognize right now is thank God. Because those are the things that weed out the sick and the weak. Those are the things that weed out the people who they don't have the fortitude to see it through. And if you don't need to be an entrepreneur to succeed, but you do need something, what is that something? And I'm here to tell you that something is the ability to endure. My ability to handle suffering, my ability to keep going when something is boring, my ability to learn a new skill long after everybody else has gotten over it and gotten bored and they are no longer interested. All I can see is its utility. And in seeing its utility and becoming obsessed with what that thing is going to allow me to do, I endure. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how painful it is, if it lives in service of my goals, I do it. And that was the one thing nobody could see. That was the one thing when I was a kid nobody could understand. If you believe that you're limited in some way, that there's something that you can't accomplish, if there's something that you can't do, it is going to be hard. It is going to be difficult. And finding your way through that maze will be some of the most difficult things that you're ever going to have to do. But if you accept that it's the truth, you become in control. If you want to talk about business, don't even worry about the mechanics of business until you get the mechanics of human psychology. If you don't know the anatomy, yes, the anatomy of the human brain, you are at a disadvantage. Why? Because I do know it. And I invite you all to adopt the following belief system. It's all my fault. Now, I use the word fault because it jabs people in the ribs. It gets people's attention. It makes them angry because they think I'm victim shaming or blaming the victim, and I'm not. I'm saying I refuse to ever be a victim. And if I maintain control, then there's something that I can do about it. The way that I define an entrepreneur is somebody who encounters an obstacle and gets really pissed because the thought of giving up never occurs to them. And now they know they have to go over, under, through it, around it, whatever, but they're not gonna slow down and they're not gonna stop. Whereas an employee might be a beautiful human being, but when they hit an obstacle, they think, oh, finally I can relax.
When your habits and routines start to suck, what you need to focus on is that thing that is giving you the energy. It's that thing that you love doing. It's that thing that made it important enough to build a habit around in the first place. So what I mean by that is, take working out for instance. 9 times out of 10, I just do it because it's a part of my routine. I go in, I work out, I don't enjoy it, but honestly, I'm not even thinking about that. So I just go in, I do it, I get my workout in. When I'm having a hard time and I don't want to do it, then I focus on the thing that made me create the habit in the first place, which usually is around just being able to generate biological energy. I don't even mean psychological energy. I'm talking literal ATP energy, wanting to be able to perform at my best from a cognitive standpoint. And so I'll focus on those things. I'll focus on that end result, the thing that I'm excited about. Or in the case of working out, maybe it's the aesthetics. So you're looking at something that actually gets you excited. So on the days where the habits suck, it's because you're losing touch with that thing that made them worthwhile in the first place. So reconnect with that. Cycle through what the things are that you're doing it for. I want to do it because of the actual strength being strong. I want to do it because I want to look good. And any one of them in any one day may not be the thing that's going to get me through. But when you focus on literally cycling through them until you get to the one that, yeah, like right now that's actually giving me energy. And sometimes you may then have to really dig deep and figure out like your mission in life. So if I'm really struggling to make it happen and I think about the people that I'm trying to help with everything that I'm doing, then I think, well, if I'm healthy, am I going to be able to better serve them? Yes, I am. If I'm cognitively optimized, am I going to be able to better serve them? Yes, I am. So on those moments, if I'm really struggling to make it happen, then I'll go all the way down to just that grand mission in life, the thing that gives me the most energy in my life. So find that thing. That is the key to making your habit stick. That's the key when you don't want to do it, that you're going to lean on that. And then the one final note, as always, identity is the thing that gets me through in like just a real bind. I'm the type of person that to be the kind of person that I want to be, to feel the way about me that I want to feel, I need to do the things that I said that I was going to do. And so if I've said that I'm going to do that habit, that routine, that whatever, then because I'm the type of person that follows through with the things that I said I'm going to do, and I'm the type of person that has literally built these things into my life because they're meaningful and they lead me where I want to go, just to be consistent with my identity, I need to do that.
I accept that we make our beliefs. We choose to believe things. Every belief that you have, and I'll even throw in gravity just to make this really obnoxious, every belief that you have is a choice. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. If you truly believe that human potential is limitless, how you decide to spend your time is a spiritual consideration, right? Because you can do anything.
Here's the reality. There is power in being selfish. The truth of the matter is you have one life to live, and if you really want deep and lasting fulfillment, if you want to make the absolute most of this life, I'm telling you right now, there is one formula for that, and it goes like this. It is what the ancient Greeks called techne. The human animal is designed to adapt and grow. Because of that, nature has given a pleasure response to doing the things that actually get us to adapt and grow so that we can conquer our environment. And that is, learning is intensely pleasurable. Now, it needs to be learning something that you actually care about, and this is where it all comes back to techne. Techne is about gaining a set of skills that was very hard to acquire and is unique to you, but is in service of other people. And it's that combination of things. It is something you're deeply interested in. It is something that you fan the flames of until it really becomes a passion. And it is something that was hard to acquire, but becomes a set of skills that is unique to you. Now, the expression of those skills, the use of those skills in service of other people is the thing that's going to light you on fire. So the great news here is live a life that is going to be fulfilling to you, is going to help other people. But if you just lead with, oh, I want to go do something for other people, you will find yourself in a nightmare scenario where you're not able to take very good care of them because you haven't spent the time to acquire a skill set that is actually useful to other people. And on top of that, you won't be fulfilled yourself. And when you're not fulfilled, you don't have the energy that you're going to need to do the hard things to take care of the people that you love the most. So when you're assessing what skill set you want to acquire, first and foremost, it needs to be selfish. It needs to be something that you're interested in, because in that selfish love, passion, excitement for that thing, you're going to have the energy to actually develop a skill set that'll be usable to other people.
Here's the hard truth. You're not yet the person you need to be in order to achieve all the things you want to achieve. The great news is you're here because you realize that. Most people fight against that. You're here because you want to learn something. You're here because you're actually open. But what you have to figure out is, what is your kung fu? You have to figure out, what is that set of skills that I need to learn?
Number one, start small. I normally hate when people talk about baby steps, but the reality is what paralyzes a lot of people from taking action is they're looking at the entire universe of what they're trying to accomplish, and it is overwhelming. And because there's so many pieces of that puzzle you don't know or understand, when you're trying to wrap your head around and really figure out how you go from where you are to the very end of the puzzle, it actually is paralyzing in the sense you don't have the skill set, you don't even have the understanding. There are many, many things you're not even aware enough about. So even though that may be the goal that gets you excited and motivated, don't get lost in all of the steps along the way. Just figure out what is the very first step. So if you want to be a professional dancer, don't worry about what it takes to go on tour with Justin Timberlake on his upcoming album. Go take a dance class and figure out whether or not you actually are going to enjoy it enough to continue to pursue it to that point. Just that simple step. It needs to be something that is exciting for you. If you don't have the excitement, and this is why, take that small first step, that baby step, just to see if you enjoyed it. If you don't enjoy the very first step, chances are that you're not going to enjoy the entire process. And there's something called WOOP, W-O-O-P, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. So wish, what is your wish? But outcome, don't let it stay in the realm of like magic fairyland. What is the actual outcome that you want from that wish? So I want to be rich and famous. Okay, what is the outcome that you're actually looking for? Do you want to be a business person? Do you want to be an actor? Like, what is that actual thing? How are you going to make that wish come true? Very, very specific, concrete path to that. Okay, once we have that, what's the obstacle that stands between your outcome and where you are today? So once you identify that, then you come up with a plan. When you look at the WOOP altogether, how does it make you feel in your gut? If it terrifies you, then chances are that this isn't something that you have the excitement for, that you're going to be willing to push through the difficulty of that obstacle part to actually execute on your plan. If, on the other hand, when you look at WOOP and you think, whoa, the steps that I actually have to go through sounds like torture to you, that is not the path that you want to march down. But if you look at something like being a professional gamer, for instance, when you think about what you would have to do to become a professional gamer, that the path, the stretch of difficulty in the middle of actually acquiring the skill sounds interesting to you, lights you on fire, gets you excited, then that's going to give you the energy that you need to keep pushing through. So a lot of this just comes down to, what is the thing that gives you the energy? And so that's really the aim of WOOP, is to figure out which of those things is going to give you that level of excitement.
I used to ask people, what do you think essentially is the meaning of life? And in the beginning, I realized it was because I didn't know the answer for myself, and I wanted to hear what other people were going to say. And then in hearing enough people say it and really thinking through my answer, I realized that for me, the very meaning of life is to see how many skills I can acquire that have utility and then put that utility to the test. I want to wring every bit of potential out of myself that's possible. Because having potential is very different than doing something with that potential. And in all of us, I believe, is a massive reservoir of latent potential that can be applied to accomplish the extraordinary. But you have to know what it is. And at the end of the day, this is all going to boil down to execution. It's all going to boil down to your ability to do it, and to do it really well. and you're gonna have to do things, create habits in order to make sure that they stick. Everyone needs an ego. Everyone needs self-esteem. Everyone needs to feel good about themselves. We need to find things that make us feel good about who we are. Because when you lose a sense of feeling good about who you are, life truly feels hopeless. So that's critical. And people often talk about, to stay away from an ego, to not pride yourself on things. But I'm telling you, that person prides themselves on not having an ego. And so it becomes what you pride yourself on is absolutely incredible. Grit. The biggest part about grit is sustained effort over time. If you lose interest quickly in something, once or twice, no big deal, it is what it is. You realize that it wasn't your thing. But if you lose interest over and over and over and over and over, and you always only enjoy the first 6 months of a business and then you want to move on, you lose interest very quickly, you need to work on developing your grit, being able to sustain that over time. Because building any business, you're going to encounter hard things. You need to be able to do those hard things, focusing on the hard things. In fact, I try to start every day with one of the hardest things, to get it out of the way, to remind myself that I'm willing to attack that. How do I find my passion? The good news is, passion is not something that's handed to you. It is not a lightning bolt moment. It's another nice, simple mathematical equation. First of all, you need to identify your areas of interest. Everybody's interested in something. And I find the big problem is people stop themselves because they say, yeah, well, the thing that I'm interested in couldn't possibly be a business. If any of you have ever struggled with feeling worthy because you don't have original ideas, do not fret. What makes each and every one of us the beautiful snowflake that we all know that we are inside is that we make unique connections between old ideas. The very time that you're living in, with the very experiences that you had, mean that you're going to make connections that other people just wouldn't make. But you've got to be getting that stream of ideas in order to make those connections. And might I suggest meditating, which puts your brain into an alpha wave state, which makes weirder connections between more remote areas of the brain. I didn't meditate for a very long time because it sounded so woo-woo-y, and then finally I met a Navy SEAL who made me feel cool about meditating, and I finally did it and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because it lets you calm your nervous system down and your brain begins making really unique connections. Always be reading. I believe the greatest gift that any great thinker can offer the world is to take the time to write down all of their insights. They say a fool never learns, a smart man learns from his mistakes, and a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. I have spent a lot of time being a fool. I've spent a reasonable amount of time being smart, but oh man, it is precious few times when I've truly been able to be wise and learn from someone else. But virtually every time I was able to get some wisdom, it was at the hands of an author. When people ask me who my mentors were, I always tell them it's the authors that I've read. Books contain the secrets to the universe.
Here is the reality about money. The reason that people chase it, even though I know you've heard 1,000 times, and it is absolutely true, money can't buy happiness, that if you're chasing money, the odds of you ending up with some level of dissatisfaction is incredibly high. But the reason that people ignore that, and the reason that they keep chasing it, and the reason that I myself lived the cliche of money can't buy happiness is because money actually does have power. Now, the thing that money lets you do, the thing that gives it that power, the reason that people will chase forever and ever and ever is it is the great facilitator. Now, being the great facilitator does not mean that it gives you the thing that you secretly want in your life. So here's the punchline about happiness. The goal of all of this, the goal of this game of life that we're all playing, it is not money, it is not success, it is entirely brain chemistry. It's entirely how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. It's about being deeply fulfilled. It's about being proud of who you are. Now, those are all, for me, synonyms. It's the same thing, which I'm just going to shorthand to fulfillment. The thing you're chasing is fulfillment. It's the only thing that doesn't sway with the wind. So happiness, in its typical definition, is very transient. So I want to shift people over to thinking about fulfillment. Fulfillment is often born of suffering. It's born of not doing something you want to do. It's born of doing the hard things. Being proud of yourself comes from that. Being proud of yourself comes from working your ass off to acquire a set of skills that, by the way, in and of themselves, in acquiring it, you found that pleasurable. It's something that you're interested in. You've hopefully crafted, developed, built a deep passion around. And in acquiring those skills, in service of that thing that you love and enjoy, you're able to serve other people. That's it. That's the truth of happiness. That's the truth of the thing that is going to give you that sense of fulfillment, that's going to allow you to enjoy your life. Money is never, ever, ever in and of itself going to do that. Money buys cool. Money is able to give you those temporary dopamine rushes of going and shopping for something and getting it, and then it's cool, but then that coolness factor wears off very rapidly. The flip side of that, using that money to build something that you believe in, that not only empowers you, but helps empower other people, that will help you develop long-lasting fulfillment. So that's the real thing. But if you're doing something that isn't making you a lot of money, but you're passionate about it, you enjoy the day to day, and it's allowing you to build skills that serve you and other people, I promise you, if you had to choose between the two, which by the way you don't, but if you had to choose between the two, always and forever, every single time, choose fulfillment. At the end of the day, the thing that you're going to be grateful that you pursued was that thing that's giving you that pleasure in the moment, that makes you feel good about yourself. So go after that.
What was the greatest fear in the last 5 years that you had to overcome that has now become a skill or a superpower for you?
I think the only thing that I've sort of thought through like that is I feel like Kobe Bryant when he split from Shaq. And it was like he obviously had won a championship with Shaq, but could he win a championship on his own? Mm-hmm. And so my last company was so successful, but I did it with two partners. And so now to have a new partner in Lisa, it's like, okay, can I also lead this team to a championship? And so that drives me in a way that I find so fun of like, okay, cool. Hey, as a part of that group, smashed it. But can I do it over here?
Yeah.
So that like reinvention, trying things and letting myself feel the weight of like, hey, you gotta prove it, buddy. Like,
right.
You had a big success once. Can you do it again? So doing that under new circumstances, to me, like, I love that. Like, I love the excitement of, can I? Will he? Won't he? So that's a lot of fun. But that's something that I think if I thought about the world differently, so I don't value myself for achieving it. So whether I achieve it or not is irrelevant. But showing up every day and sincerely pursuing it is what I value myself for. And I like to feel that sort of weight of like, hey, maybe you won't, maybe you're gonna fail. Maybe like it was only you as a part of this collective. Hey, you did a great job there. Or maybe it was just that moment in time. Yeah. Like you rode a wave. But like over here, can you create something from scratch? Can you repeat it?
Where do you think all success starts with?
Well, the fast answer is mindset. Going back to the only belief that matters, you said it. It's the way you act is ultimately all that matters, and the way you act follows what you allow yourself to believe. Maybe a better way to say it is what you choose to believe. Mm-hmm. So if you choose to believe that your energy and efforts will result in more skill set, then you will actually put energy and effort into getting that, which means you actually will get the skill set. But if you think, well, my talent and intelligence are fixed, so no matter how much I work, I'm never going to get better, right? I can't be a fast pig. Mm-hmm. And if you don't think that putting time and energy into it will yield anything, then you won't put time and energy into it, and you thusly won't get the skills. So, and if you don't have the skills, then you can't do the things other people can do, and so people just get stuck because they don't have the only belief that matters. So they don't put the time and energy. And so that's like where everything starts is, are you putting the time and energy into getting better, yes or no?
You can only share 3 final things. What would those 3 things be?
Number 1. The human animal is designed to grow and get better. Mm-hmm. But you have to put the time and energy in. Number 2, fulfillment is all that matters. Don't chase money, don't chase fame, don't chase success. The only thing that matters to actually enjoying your life is to feel good about yourself when you're by yourself. That's it. And getting people to recognize that, like, if I were to give you one thing that I'm trying to do, it's that. And then number 3, love deeply, man. Nothing will ever reward you like the connection with another human being.
The only thing you need to know right now, the point is not to avoid the pain, and you need to stop asking yourself, what's the least you can do to get good? and you need to start asking yourself, what's the most you can bear to become great? Once you understand that the whole point is to let the suffering and the pain harden you into becoming the version of yourself that you need to become in order to execute at the highest level, to be world class at anything, and stop avoiding it, stop being afraid of it, and start understanding for what it really is, which is the thing that shapes you.